Hello viewers, Super GT here. Last year I raced at Silverstone and that went really well. This year I've been entrusted to drive this Mark III Mazda MX-5 and I have one simple mission: to try to get 2 race finishes out of the 3 races I'm about to do. But let's first jump into qualifying. We had 15 minutes to try to set our fastest qualifying lap around the Silverstone circuit, which we are just driving onto here. Now this session took a turn for the worse quite quickly, and well, I'm not going to describe it to you because I'm just going to show it to you. Take a look at what happened on the very first lap. You're good? So yeah, not an ideal way to start a qualifying session. Crashing into your teammate, someone who's on the same team as me at Paddock Motorsport. Eventually though, I did manage to set a lap, albeit not the absolute quickest, but I was happy just to get around, I suppose, before bringing the car in at the end of the session. I hit Ed on the first lap. I don't know how I did. I was quicker than some people, but yeah, I got damage on that front corner, I think. Whoops. No idea how that was, guys. We weren't last, we weren't slowest. Yes, I wasn't the slowest, but it was going to count for nothing anyway, because I got called to the weighbridge, and the car, unfortunately, was underweight. Okay, guys, because I was underweight, I've been summoned to race control, so let's go and have a look. Okay, some bad news. Because I was 10 kilos underweight, I had to start 10 seconds behind the pack, so I'm going to be on my own at the beginning. We also had to fix the car, get some nice tape on the front bumper to fix that, and then with some extra weight installed, the car was no longer under the weight limit. And so here we are on the grid for the very first race. Now, I was told that I would be responding to the flag on the left, so you can see everyone's already gone. I have to wait 10 seconds because of the penalty. There is someone there with a Union Jack flag, you can barely see them, and eventually the flag gets waved, and away we go. Now, I wasn't on my own at the back here, there was someone else who was also serving a penalty, as you can see. So this first lap was pretty much me and this guy trying to catch back up with the rest of the pack. And that actually didn't take as long as I would have thought. You know, 10 seconds is quite a big gap. But given that everyone's fighting so much on that first lap, you can actually gain quite a lot. You can see here, this is the end of the first lap, and already we are well within sight of the group. So this isn't too bad of a situation. And to be fair, I wanted to gain signatures here as we go past a car on the right-hand side. I wanted to gain signatures, so my main absolute objective is simply to finish the races cleanly and get to the end. And so starting at the back wasn't such an awful thing. And you know, if I was competing for the championship then it would be, but that is not my main objective of this event. I was trying to get more signatures on my racing license to get a higher grade of international license. So we managed to pull up to the back of the pack and just pull off a nice little old switcheroo there, going on to the main straight, the F1 main straight. A couple of cars going slowly here. There was a yellow flag on the left hand side, and so we had to back out of the power. Now coming through here, bit of an oversteer moment. Are we going to go for a move? Car opens up the gap, and I felt like, okay, I'm just going to put myself into the gap, go for the move on the exit. You can see the car very squirrely on the exit, and this was the nature of this Mark I Mazda MX-5. Sorry, Mark III Mazda MX-5, wanting to slide all over the place. So you really did have to feel comfortable with that lack of grip. As I went for that move, there was a car spun out there, but I didn't see a yellow flag as I went for the move. As we progress into the race a little bit further, catching up with more and more cars. I had no idea which position I was in. There was 49 cars on the track. And so I think anything into the 30s in terms of position, you know, would be good. I'd be overtaking quite a lot of drivers. And here, going up the inside into the F1 first corner and getting the move nicely done. And we're hitting his speed's over 100 miles an hour into that corner, so it's pretty quick. Up the inside here, so we're just trying to pick off some stragglers here, and just really trying to get a good feel for the car, whilst also not doing anything too stupid that could end our race. I really wanted to get to the end. But we're going to go for another move here. We had a really good battle with this guy in the Go For It Mazda MX-5, going up the inside and getting the position once again, before eventually finishing the race in I have no idea what position. It was a good battle though. I was quite happy to have fought through and complete the race and get one signature. Race 1, we finished. 5th in class, not too bad.
Have fun out there, mate.
You will do.
Alright, into race number 2. I should probably explain that there are 2 classes within this one event. So there's 49 cars, but there is the Super Cup, the guys at the front, and then I'm in the Clubman class, which is sort of the lower category, in a slightly slower version of the car. Now, I'm only really trying to compete in the Clubman class. Away we go, for this is actually not the start. This is just the rolling up lap. This is going to be the start. And this time, I didn't have to wait 10 seconds at the start, which was good. I could actually have a bit of a battle at the beginning. And we were at the back though. But away from the line we go. Let's see how many positions we can pick off in this race. It wasn't the best start. This was something that was quite tricky for me to get right. Just the procedure at the start line, just really trying to get a good launch. And it's something, I'm jumping into this car for the first time. So you're just trying to learn a lot quite quickly. So it's never that easy, to adapt very quickly, especially as you can see the weather in the UK is quite mixed, and it often is the case that the weather has an effect on the racing, and there is a slightly damp circuit, as you saw in qualifying when I made that big mistake. So filtering through Maggers and Beggar's section here as we head on to the hangar straight, going down a gear to try to get the traction and the grip and the acceleration. Now here, another one of my teammates having an issue with the car, so we're going to gain that position quite easily. Moving up another position. I'm going to whip it forward here to the end of the straight, and let's take a look at what's going to happen. You see in the Mazda MX-5s, it's so fun. There's so many cars, and oh my goodness, the car's facing the wrong way. Another 2 positions gained through that corner. Someone on my left, you might be able to see them in the rearview mirror momentarily there. And it's really a case, again, of survival. Yes, I'm trying to have fun and overtake as many cars as I can, but let's not forget, I really just want to get to the end, get this signature on my license, and get the upgrade that I need. And so we're trying to push as much as we can whilst not doing anything too stupid. That guy revs out his car too much, bangs off the limiter, and it's going to be another position gained. A little bit later on in this lap, another car on the left-hand side off the circuit. And this was quite normal, lots of cars everywhere. It really is quite a chaotic race. You just really have to avoid all of this chaos and carnage. It's quite tricky to do that. There's lots of things to concentrate on at the same time. Driving the car in itself is hard enough of a task, whilst trying to avoid 48 other drivers who are trying to beat you. Guy on the right hand side there gets a poor exit onto this back straight. You see the cars in front having a huge moment, and that's one place where there was a huge damp patch on the inside line, and so you kind of had to drive that line but just deal with the consequence of the big oversteer moment. So it was quite scary, quite gnarly at times, really pushing the car and knowing that it was going to lose control, or at least the back end was going to come round at some point. Now here, is this guy going to have a bit of a moment? Yes, he is. I felt like the space was here on the exit. I wasn't sure what he was doing. And as I go through, there is contact with him. I'm not sure what was going on there, whether or not he had a problem before which caused that spin or what. But who knows. So a little bit later on into the race, trying to pull away from this group behind. Slipstreaming is so important in these cars, especially on a track like this. It can be worth up to, or maybe even more than 2 seconds a lap. And so you really do need to try and pull away from the cars behind. Plus, let's not forget, we have 2 classes. The Super Cup class cars are slightly quicker. They have slightly better engines, and therefore they pull away a bit more on the straights. That guy's spinning out, turning left into a left-hander, to be fair to him, but a little bit too much, as we then head into the tightest sequence on the track, this very slow right-hander into the hairpin left coming up. You can see the different lines, different colours of the tarmac with the rain that was falling earlier in the day now having an effect on the track, and it made for really tricky conditions. And to be fair, this race was just difficult to get through to the end. Now in the slipstream, you can see the benefit of the slipstream, as now we're going to pull out to the left hand side. I was quite confident on the brakes into this corner coming up, and so he backed out quite early and I was able to get the position. Of course, this is where we had our incident in the qualifying session, but I was feeling a little bit more confident here by the time we got into this second race. Another group in front, maybe 2 seconds up the road. You can see in the mirror the car behind following fairly closely, but just trying to pull away. There was quite a big group behind, and what I really didn't want was to get drawn into that battle with that group. But I did manage to catch up with the car in front, as ever, trying to gain more positions, going for quite a late move here, but I think he braked a little bit too early and there was a lot more speed to be carried into that corner. And then catching up with the silver car now, and I'm kind of reliving this as it was at the time. You know, I didn't know who anyone was. I'm jumping into this championship afresh, so I don't know who anyone is. I don't know who my real opponents are. I'm just coming up to cars and I'm just trying to overtake them. It really is as simple as that. But this is a guy I had a good battle with in the first race, the silver Go For It MX-5. And here we seem to be quite well matched, and I managed to catch up with him, have a good little side by side here towards Copse Corner. I've got the inside line, I'm not going to back out from here, tipping the car in, making sure we don't get a huge oversteer moment. And in these kind of cars, because they don't have a huge amount of power, it really is about being smooth, keeping the speed up and making sure you don't scrub off any unnecessary speed. So Intermarkets and Beckett's really committing a lot of speed onto this right-hander, taking a lot of the curb on the way in, trying to minimise the travel distance through this section of the circuit. And this is really important because it leads out onto the Hanger Straight, a very long straight here at Silverstone. And so I really need to have a good exit and a good gap, but unfortunately that hasn't quite happened. As you can see in the rearview mirror, he's going to come back at me with a slightly better exit plus a bit of slipstream, and he goes back past me on the left hand side. There's not much I can do about that. Can I go back up the inside here? I'm not quite going to be able to do it. And here you see the varying lines as he takes a very wide line through Stowe Corner, and it was quite interesting to see that, given the differing the weather made different lines basically through a lot of the corners. So a little bit later on, still a really good battle with this guy as we head into Copse Corner. This is the final lap now, and so our last chance to try to get this position back. I had a good run out of Copse Corner, quite a lot onto the curb, getting quite a bit of a run into Maggots and Beckett's for the final time. Not quite close enough here. But here we have another teammate having I'm not sure what happened. I think he went wide earlier in the race and one of his tyres began to deflate, and so he had a bit of a problem with that. And so that created a bit of a gap as I went wide to try to go round him. And that meant the silver car was able to pull away, and by the end it was a good battle, but I wasn't quite able to overhaul him. And in the end it was going to be another 5th position in class, which I was fairly happy about. Okay, that was race 2, 2 race finishes, 2 5th places in class. So we've got our signatures. Next race I'm going to start 29th, right in the middle. We're aiming to get on the podium, which is, we've got to bring the car to this bit here. But starting in 5th in class, and well, we have to overtake 2 people, so let's try and do it. And so with my 2 signatures now firmly in the book, I knew that this race would be a lot more fun. I could relax and really just go for it, knowing that I didn't have to get that signature for this one. So, starting 29th, which was an aggregate of the first 2 race result finishes, I was in the middle of the pack this time, 29th out of 49, 5th on the grid in the Clubman class, and so we just needed to overtake 2 cars to get on the Clubman podium. Let's go away from the grid. That guy got a really good start, and once again my launch from the line, not the best, but I only lost, let's say, 1 or 2 positions here. Into the first corner, fast and furious, lots of cars everywhere. On my right hand side here, just trying to be brave and keep the car committed, keep your foot planted, and you have to really get your elbows out and just like be in control of the space immediately around you and not be too timid. If you're quite timid in this kind of situation, everyone will take advantage, and you have to be sure to not be in that situation. A couple of cars very wide into the gravel there on the right hand side, you might have just spotted. I'm going to keep a good amount of speed around the outside here, onto the hangar straight, a little bit wide on the curb. We're going to try and tuck into this slipstream as soon as we can, but there is a car on my right hand side, so I can't quite do it just yet. Once he goes past, we are going to tuck in, conscious that there's a car trying to overtake me on the left, and so you have to be really careful here as we hit the brakes, and you're quite unsighted as you go in. Lots of cars everywhere, so it's not easy to see exactly where you want to brake. But we're going to hold a nice line here, not losing a position, so that's good news. Coming down towards this left-right sequence at Club Corner, towards the end of the F1 lap, but of course we are running a different start line here. We are running the old start line. And through here, everyone holding a nice position. And so because I'm starting roughly where I should be in the middle of the pack, then you know, everyone around me is going to be a bit more balanced in terms of speed. Let's not forget, a lot of the cars at the front all in the Supercup class, and so should be quicker. And so I'm really just battling a handful here of clubman guys, one of which is this number 28, I believe, and then of course the silver Gopher at MX-5, who we've been battling all day so far. Around the outside we go. By this point, I'm thinking I'm heading towards a podium in clubman class, but all I know for sure is that I have to keep pushing and keep trying to overtake as many cars as possible. Car slow on the right hand side. I'm going to try and get a good run here down the back straight. I'm going to tuck back in for that slipstream, ever crucial. Silver car in my right hand mirror. You might have just spotted him there. And so into the big braking zone here at the end of the straight. Can we sneak this one up the inside of the red car? It looks like we can. How about the black car as well? Not quite side by side, very close indeed. I'm going to try and run this one all the way around the outside past the number 72. Not quite able to do it. Getting on the power as early as we can, but then tucking back in behind. So that's still a position gained on that corner, so that's not too bad at all. We are trying to catch up with the orange car in front. I'm pretty sure is a clubman car, and so we have some cars in our immediate sights. The black car with the green roll hoop as well. Another clubman car which I'm trying to catch up with and overtake, and that car is there. There they are. We have caught them up at the end of the second lap, and so we have a shot here of overtaking within our class. Those are the ones that matter. We can overtake Supercup cars, of course, but you're not really gaining a position within class, so it's not really going to change your result per se. Up the inside we go. He's still on my right hand side, so I'm going to have to give space. And then holding a nice line here, you see the car wanting to step away from me on the exit as we get on the power a little bit too early. He is on my right hand side here, but with the assistance of the slipstream of the car in front, he just slips behind, and I gain the position up into what I believe at the time, I'll be honest, I didn't know what position I was in. I didn't know if I was in third in class, fourth in class. I had no idea. And this is the thing you have to understand when you're racing. It's not like F1 or a sim where you have all the graphics telling you exactly what position you're in. I didn't have any radio communication. So when you're out there, you're kind of on your own, and you don't really know what's going on to a large extent. You can kind of guess, you can kind of prepare in some way and look at whose cars are who, and you know who I need to overtake. But for the large part, I am just out there just trying to drive this car as quick as I can, and then hoping it's enough at the end. So down the back straight once again, hangar straight, heading over 100 miles an hour down there. We're going to whip it forward down to the back straight towards the end of the lap. Looking for this move. Up the inside we go, past the 72. We've been battling with him for the majority of this race so far. And that's a move well made. I was very confident on the brakes into that corner, and so we got a position. There's quite a bit of a group in front, orange car in front, and then the car that I am definitely trying to gain on is the purple car, the one that is in front of the orange one, which is now actually just in front, as you can see. So purple with the orange sections on it. That is the car I am trying to overtake. I know for sure that is another clubman car. Myself and my manager did look at the cars in front of us when we were sat on the grid, just made sure we knew which ones were clubmen. And so here we are, firmly in the slipstream now, albeit at a bit of a distance. Cars behind, a bit of a gap actually, so we don't have to worry about defending. It really is a case of trying to push and get into a good battle with this clubman car. Can we gain another position within class? That is the main priority right now. carrying the speed through this right-hander into the slowest corner on the lap, and I was having a bit of difficulty on this one, deciding if I should go down to second gear or keep it in third and get on the power early. This was third gear, and you can see just losing a little bit of ground on the exit, so perhaps could have gotten the power a little bit earlier as we crank it up into fourth gear. A little bit later on, this was my overtake for position, as I got a much tidier exit on the exit of Copse Corner, and getting a run plus a bit of slipstream past the number 98. This is for position. Up to the inside we go. He's going to back out as we head into Maggers and Beckett's, and that is a position in class. Up behind a couple of Supercup cars here, just trying to stay within their tow. This is a crucial section of the circuit, as we've mentioned many times, just trying to stay in the tow. I know these cars are going to drive away from me. They should do on the straight, but I was actually keeping up and actually gaining on this guy in the Supercup car, and here we go for a very late move up the inside, and he's going to give me the space. I'm going to gain and put a buffer between myself and the purple car who were battling for position. But you can see here, with the superior power of the Supercup car, it just comes sailing back past, and there isn't too much I can do about that. And so now this leaves me in a direct duel once again with the purple car, who you can see dotted about in the mirrors, and it's really easy to get distracted by a car behind when they're in your rear view mirrors, the side mirrors, but you really do have to keep your eyes forward for the most part. As I managed to get or keep really close to this Supercup car, with the purple guy very close behind still. Not sure if I should go defensive. A bit of a lock up into this left, and that's going to compromise my exit, as I don't quite get the line or the trajectory correct. As we come down this back straight, this seemed to be a place where I was getting overtaken because of my exit from the preceding corner. And you can see here, the guy is going to come back past me. It was a really good battle to this point. As he goes up the inside, there's not much I can do from this position on the outside. I was good into that corner on the brakes typically, but you know, around the outside is not going to be easy or feasible really. As he drifts quite wide, but he's able to keep the power down, keep the momentum up, and keep the position in front. And as we move forward to the hangar straight, this is the final lap of the race now. Final lap. We're going to have one big opportunity to try to send this into the slipstream. We go, heading well over 100 miles an hour now, down the back straight, heading into Stowe Corner, looking for that braking marker. I'm going to move out to the right hand side. We are going to go for this move. Space is afforded and the position is gained, with half a lap left to go to try to keep it. He's right on my tail. Should I go defensive down here? I'm going to go defensive. He pulls out to the right hand side, which is going to be the outside. I'm just going to try and keep him there, make sure he doesn't go around the outside here. He tucks back in, and I keep the position for now. But there's going to be a couple more positions, or a couple more corners where he could gain this position back. Fortunately, however, he was not able to get the position back, and I would win out in our epic duel here at Silverstone, missing a shift as we crossed the line. And as we finished the race, I was actually incredibly surprised by the result as we pull back into the pit lane. Because they told me to pull over to the right hand side, so I was on the podium, and then they said I'm in the middle, which meant I had won. So P1. Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, it was a close fight between the two of us. We did overtake a couple of times on the last few laps, so it was a really good, enjoyable fight.
Yeah, as well. Sorry to grab him away from John.
There we go.
This is getting quite good.
Class win. Thank you very much. Congratulations. There you go. Yeah, trophy.
Alright guys, that's not a bad weekend. 3 race finishes, 3 signatures, race winning class. Brought the car home without crashing it, without destroying it anyway. We'll have more racing content very soon. We've got some big plans for this year. And I have to say a massive thank you to Martin Plowman and Paddock Motorsport for looking after me all weekend. It was really enjoyable. Thank you so much for watching this one, guys. I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
1, 2, 3, yeah!